The next section we're going to look at, now that we've talked about the portfolio portion, we're going to tunnel into what is service catalog management. Now, in particular, this is the process that establishes, documents, and creates and maintains the service catalog portion of that. So before I talked about building a catalog, I wanted to show you holistically what goes into a service catalog management process. Now, the things that we're going to be discussing in this portion of the materials do not just come from ITIL. They come from a variety of different resources, including some of my own experience in this particular area of practice. But most of it is from the ITIL framework. So let's go ahead and look at this. Here's the objective of the process: to provide a single source of consistent information on all agreed upon services and ensure that it's widely available to those who are approved to use it. So remember, if this is the section that the customers can see, that they have visibility in, that they can order services from, it better be a single source. We don't want our customers having to go to multiple locations. And it should have all of the services, right? If I'm going to buy services at a restaurant, what do they give me? They give me a menu. If I'm going to buy services from the dry cleaner, I have a menu. And this is basically the menu for IT. What services do we provide to what customers? It's visible to them. The goal is to ensure that that catalog is produced, maintained, and it contains accurate information. This is critically important. Many organizations have put up splash screens, right? A web page that their users can go and look at. But the information up on that web page is out of date. You know as well as I do that the IT organization changes on a daily basis. Without a formal process in place that continually monitors what's going on from a change management perspective, from a design perspective, then we're not going to be able to capture what's happening in the live environment so that this single repository truly does reflect the live environment. So this is why the process is so important to have behind the scenes. We need to keep the information accurate, and that's what this process is meant to do. Our objective: to manage the information contained in the catalog to ensure it's accurate, reflects the current details, service statuses, the interfaces, which is, remember that picture where we showed the business process, the service that the business is using, and the related IT services. Those interfaces are also what we're capturing and maintaining within the catalog. We need those dependencies to be mapped so that we can understand the effect of modifying one and how it will impact all the services that we provide to the organization. So what goes into the scope? First of all, the definition of the service. We talked about that in the previous section of the materials. What is a service? A means of delivering value to customers. That's important that everybody agree that that is what a service is, that it's customer facing, that idea that we're providing value to the customer. We're also producing and maintaining the catalog, but we're creating an interface with whoever's managing the portfolio. If you're a person that's involved much more in operational environment and you're creating a catalog, then it's understandable that you better create a relationship to whoever's doing the strategy part, right? Because that's where the new opportunities are coming from. If there's no relationship there, we always get that feeling like things are being thrown over the fence. We didn't have a choice. Here it is. You deal with it. And we don't want that to happen. So this relationship and interface that we create between the operational catalog and the more strategic planning and design that goes into the portfolio part of that is critically important so that we do get this end-to-end view of what's going on with the service lifecycle. We also want the interface to the configuration management system. Now, I'm throwing a term out there that only a couple of you probably know, but let me kind of describe what it is. The configuration management system is, oops, Amir, could you put yourself on mute?
I should have been on mute.
That's okay. Sounded like your phone went off. The configuration management system is a database that allows us to track what are called configuration items and their relationships to other data in the environment. So let me bring up a whiteboard here and let me show you what this looks like. Okay. In our organization today, we capture a lot of different information in different repositories. So if you have an incident management system or an incident management process, you're probably collecting data about incidents. If you have a problem management process, you're probably capturing data about problems. And if you have a change management process, you're probably capturing data about changes. There's one more in here, something called the Configuration Management Database. The Configuration Management Database tracks configuration items and their attributes. So a lot of big idle terms there. Basically, I'm tracking my hardware and my software in this database. Okay? So if I have a server, it's going to have a record in the CMDB. If I have a desktop, it's going to have a record in the CMDB. If I have SAP, it's going to be an entry in my CMDB. Okay? So here's where we're tracking all of those items that make up services. They're the component layer. But it is very valuable if I have, let's say, that server, and I can see through relationships all the incidents that have happened to that server, or all the problems, or all the changes. So the configuration management system connects all of these. It is known as the integration layer. Okay, so it basically connects the glue. If I had a record coming out of my CMDB for a server, then through the interface with the configuration management system, the one that creates this relationship, I can see all the changes, problems, and incidents. When I look at that record for that server, I look at it, I can very easily through the relationship click and go, oh, here's all its incidents, and here's all its problems and all the changes that are related to it. Okay? So this information is hugely valuable to us in a catalog. We want to know all the components that make up a service. But we're getting a much more detailed layer of information when we go into the configuration management system. The service catalog is the much higher level, the entities of the service and the relationship between services and each other, right? So between the eStore and authentication service and networking. We're not tracking down to the component level. The component level is really captured here in our configuration management system, okay? So when we go into catalog, if catalog is going to make changes, it makes sense that they have to have an interface with the configuration management system to make certain that any changes that are made there are reflected in the catalog, and anything that's done in the catalog is reflected within the configuration management system. So that interface is pretty important. All of us need to be staying on the same page: portfolio, catalog, CMS. 3 different levels of data, but we need to be on the same page.